Well, guys, welcome to the Hunter Tale podcast. It is your host, Hunter Tale. And I want to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of insight into what I did this weekend. It's called a sweat lodge, right? A sweat lodge is a Native American practice where they used to almost have this rite of passage where you would go into this igloo that's made out of animal skin. Sometimes it's made out of blankets. And your thought is to go in there and die. Not physically die, but die to yourself because it resembles the womb. And so once you actually emerge, your spirit is supposed to be rejuvenated, purified. So that just had my name written all over it. So I sign up for this sweat lodge. I get approved and I'm nervous because I'm like, yo, I've never done anything like this. But if you guys know me, I'm always doing stuff that I never do. So this was right up my alley. The day finally comes that I'm supposed to go to the sweat lodge and I didn't think about it, but the night I went out drinking espresso martinis. So that might not have been the best idea, but it's what happened. So that morning I wake up, my lips are dry, I'm super dehydrated, I feel like lethargic, but that doesn't stop me. I'm still going to do it because I've already put my mind to it and I paid. So I'm automatically dedicated to the craft, right? So I walk down to the conscious kitchen where I'm supposed to be meeting this woman and we're going to be driving together. And when I get there, it's this guy sitting there and he has a handpan, right? But he's not playing the handpan, he's just chilling. So we begin talking and he's like, yeah, I'm doing an ayahuasca retreat. That's why I'm here. My mind is in this and masculinity this. And we're having just this fantastic conversation. And he was like, I tell him like, oh yeah, I'm about to go to a sweat lodge. And he's like, what's that? And so I tell him, well, a sweat lodge is a Native American practice where you go, you die to yourself. It's heat, it's earth, wind, fire, water, it's nature. And he was just like, can I come? And I didn't know if I was even allowed to bring him, truthfully. But when the girl came, we decided, all right, just follow us. If she says you can't come, you can't come. All right. But the guy decides to come with us, right? So we all drive to this compound. When we get there, it's massive compounds. They have a labyrinth, they have a garden, they have all these different houses and structures. And then you see the igloo, right? The igloo's in this field. It's a massive, beautiful tree that overlooks everything. It's a bunch of these red, blue, purple, black, white, yellow strips of linen that's dangling from this line that circles this area. And then there's a massive like not a fire yet, but it's like a teepee of stones and sticks. Well, stones are inside, sticks cover the stones, so you don't even know there's stones in there. I know there's stones in there because that's where we got the stones from. But when you walk in, there's this woman and she has this smoke and she's saging people down. So when you walk in, she tells you to, take off your shirt, take off your pants, take off your shoes, and then you put your arms out and she does a prayer over you, just kind of cleaning your energy, making sure that you're all good. Hey, open your feet. Let me do your feet. Let me do your body. Put in prayers over you to prepare you for this rite of passage. So I go through the process. And now we go into the area where underneath the tree. And so as we sit underneath the tree, we sit on our little blankets and we first go around to tell people why we're here, which was interesting because you find that a lot of people are all there for very similar reasons. There's a lot of people that are there for addiction or to come out of their addiction. There's a lot of people that are looking to give up certain aspects of themselves. But many people, when you say addiction, everybody thinks of drugs or alcohol or sex, but addiction can be just addicted to comfort, addicted to who you used to be, addicted to the way you typically do things. So I think a lot of us really need to give up something that's holding us back. So kind of all of us were there for some form of addiction. I mean, even I'm sometimes addicted to movement, instability. That's my addiction because that is oftentimes what holds me back from creating something sustainable is my ability to be water. Water can be the most powerful force in nature, or it can be driplets that needs so much water to be anything, And that's where I currently am. So when I sat there, she said, hey, don't practice what you're going to say. Just speak for the heart. And so when it got to me, I said, why am I here? I don't really know why I'm here. And I think that's why I'm here, is the fact that I don't know why I'm here, because I'm looking for something. Back to Natalia. I'm always looking for something. That's kind of the purpose of me being on this planet, I find. I don't think that I have all the answers. And because I don't have the answers, it's keeps me on this continual search for the answers. And that's why the podcast makes sense, because you're searching with me. I'm searching. I'm telling you by also telling myself, by speaking it out loud, yada, yada. So after I said my piece, then we go and we get tobacco. Tobacco, if you don't understand tobacco, it's a masculine plant. You know, marijuana, everybody knows, is a very feminine plant. It's what gives you the creative, it gives you vibes, it gives you sexuality, connection, sensuality. But tobacco, if you understand it and you see in Native American traditions, it's a protector. It keeps away dark and evil spirits. True tobacco is a masculine plant, right? So we put the tobacco inside of these linens that if you get the red, it means like connecting with your inner child. If you get the white, you're trying to connect with the aliens or the other dimensional creatures. If you get the green, then you're trying to connect with, sensuality. They all had a different meaning. I did red, yellow, purple. You roll it up in tobacco, and then that's going to go with you into the sweat lodge, right? So now it's time to go to the sweat lodge. Everybody, we're all pissing because we're drinking a lot of water, just trying to get as hydrated as possible. Plus, I'm dehydrated. So you got to go counterclockwise, and you can't go in between the fire and the sweat lodge because there's an energetic portal that's taking from the fire going into the lodge, right? So we go, everybody begins to walk into the lodge. You go, you clean off your feet, then you do a prayer, you do a thank you to the energies and the spirits that are going to be within you and amongst the lodge, and then you go in. You go clockwise and you go into your area. So I'm sitting there, and I'm in this really small igloo, and it's dirt floors, and there's this like open pit in the middle of it, right? And so now everybody begins to get inside. We're all semi-naked. We have on, underwear or towels. If you're a girl, towels. Men, you got like your underwear, and we're sitting in there, right? And so now we're going to go ahead and introduce grandmother and grandfather. So you call the stones that have been under this bonfire all this time grandmother, grandfather, based off of what the shaman who is leading the entire thing calls it, right? So you say, oh, welcome grandmother. And they bring in this hot stone, massive, sister stone in the middle. Welcome grandfather. They bring this big ass stone sitting in the middle. So now you're sitting there, you feel these stones, right? Now they go and they bring they'll take some different herbs, drop the herbs on. As soon as it touches the fire, it lights up, it sims up into the air. So now you're smelling this, like all these different herbs and these different smells. And you're sitting there thinking, oh shit, here we go. So now after we get about 7 stones in, they go, fire bearer, please close the walls. So now they begin to close the walls around you, and it's pitch black. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. That's how dark it is, right? And so now you're sitting in there, you're crunched up, and they begin to chant. What is it? Oi, osawuska, osawuska. And so now you got people chanting. You have the drums, boom, 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 boom. The drums are hitting. You hear the water hitting the rocks. You could feel the fire, the heat just engulf the place. Like it gets to a point, it gets to a heat temperature that I even felt like I could actually die in here. Like not only is it hot, but I also had a steaming headache smashing in the back of my head ever since I had arrived. And now with the heat and the smell and the moisture, it's just hell in there, right? And this is round 1. So I'm laying there and I'm just thinking, I don't know if I could do 4 rounds of this. And this is something that's very important, and we're going to discuss it. I'm not going to spoil it, but you're going to hear it in this conversation in the next episode. But a very important aspect is the fact that you have the ability to leave, because the mental game that you have to fight with yourself when you have the ability to walk away is so different from the experience when it's like a drug, like let's say ayahuasca or bufu. Once you step on that road, that roller coaster, there is no stepping off because you got to wait until the roller coaster ends. With something like this, you can walk out at any time. So you're actually having to have another level of confidence and courage and strength, fuente, to be able to overcome your own mind saying, I'm not able. And I find that to be the most beautiful thing about these challenges, is because even when I do jujitsu now, if I have a guy who's choking me out and I'm laying there, or he's on top and he has me in a submission, and I'm thinking, I've been here before. Like I know my breath is low. I know you have your elbow in my neck. I know that I'm really uncomfortable. I've been more uncomfortable before. So try again. And I find that to be the most beautiful thing about all of these experiences. But so now round one ends, right? After you chant and you make the music and you're beating the drums and they say, "Fire bearer, please open the walls." They open the walls and I just like look out. You can't reach your hand out, but you just feel that air change everything. It's like you've been rejuvenated, you've been reborn, right? And you're looking at the mountain, the Cape Tonian mountain in the distance, and it's just like my eyes were watching God, right? And then after probably about, it feels, because you don't know how much time is going by. It's all up to the shaman inside how much time you're going to be doing. And so after about a couple of minutes, she goes, "Time for round two. Fire bearer, please bring in grandmother and grandfather." So round two comes, more stones, more fire, more water, more herbs, and round two begins. By round two, the guy who came with me, he's really having just a hard time. Like, you can hear him, and I can't see anything, but I know he's there, so I know it's him, and he's just drenched because I saw him when the walls were open. He's drenched. He's struggling. I mean, he's a big guy. And you're going to see him in the next episode. So he's not what you would think is somebody who would struggle with something like this. But the thing is about it is this is a mind over matter. So it doesn't matter how big you are. It matters how much your mind is able to handle this, right? And so by round two, we're going through it. We're fighting with our mind. You're having these conversations that you wouldn't have before. And round two ends. Cool. Round three is where things begin to really pick up because the whole thought is that you begin to see things that aren't there. And by round three, that heat is just different because you've already went past 2 rounds. You know that it's possible to finish a round, but you don't know you're halfway there. And you don't know if you can go another 50% of this, another however long, how much longer, how much more pain. And so by round three, the guy next to me, he's just and he asked, can I please leave? And another guy asked, "I need to leave as well." And so the shaman says, "Relax, you can finish. Don't leave yet. Just hold off a little bit more." By this point, I've learned that whenever I struggle, the thing that I find to be the most helpful to me is to laugh. I can handle this. This is easy. This is joyful. I'm having a great time. Because then you're no longer fighting against yourself anymore, but you're actually becoming more of an ally with yourself because we're having a good time together. Yes, it's like if you're going through military camp and instead of you going, "This is so hard," you go, "This is easy. I can do this all day." Because mentally your brain is going to allow for you to do what it is that you believe you can. And for me, I knew that I could finish. I knew that I was strong enough. And so it just made it so much easier. So I'm laying there like, I can do this, even though I wasn't fully sure whether or not I could do this, especially finishing that round three. Round three, we finally opened the walls, and that was where I finally felt that rebirth moment that we were all alluding to. When those walls opened and I looked out at the mountain, I just felt the most. I was alone, but I was surrounded, and I was joyful, but I was also serene, and I knew that I was where I am supposed to be in life. This path, the path that I currently walk while here in Cape Town, ever since I was a child, is one of mind, body, spirit, wellness. And it all came together in that moment. It all finally clicked. That little voice was no longer a little voice, but it was my voice. Round four has begun, and this is the phase where many people begin to hallucinate. They begin to see things that are not there. They begin to have beliefs and understandings that they might not have had before. For myself, I received that in round three. So going into round four, it was me just becoming at peace with the situation, to truly surrender, which I find to be difficult. But in this moment, I was at peace. I laid out on the floor as the last pillows of smoke began to swell me, and the steam engulfed my body. One man was gone, 2 men were gone, and it was just me, a couple of women, and a couple of guys that had actually endured the entirety of the sweat lodge. And we had succeeded. We opened up the doors one last time. for us to begin the evacuation process, saying thank you to my grandmother, thank you to grandfather, thank you to the shaman, thank you to Anika, the electric dragon fire, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we crawl out of the mother's womb. Sunlight hits our body, the fresh air hits you, and now I'm walking like Conor McGregor. Arms are swinging. I feel like the shit. I'm like, I did that. I did that. I did that. Me, by myself. And that's what it's all about, you know? It wasn't something that I knew was going to be a epiphany every moment of it, or I was going to come out some new creature, or I was going to be a changed man, because you ain't gonna change me with 4 rounds of a sweat lodge. But what I was is a man who knew that whenever I'm challenged, I can endure and I can overcome. I already knew that, but I had one more charm on the bracelet of my existence to show, yeah, I'm him. So that was great, and I loved it. When I finally went back to the city, I was walking home, right? I was walking home from Checkers, where I had just grabbed some rotisserie chicken, and this small Arab dude was walking, right? Walking, and he bumped into me. And when he bumped into me, I lost my footing. I didn't fall, but I definitely stumbled for a second, and I didn't give a fuck, because naturally, as a man, and as a black man, and as an American man, we take disrespect very seriously, as well as the way in which the world perceives us and treats us. So I knew that typically I would respond in a different way from that. But in that moment, I was at such peace that I knew his behavior doesn't reflect anything on who I am. That moment, whatever that was, means absolutely nothing, because I don't need to crash out in order to show that you shouldn't crash into me. That's peace, gentlemen. That's peace. You know, I say the same thing for jujitsu. I say the same thing for martial arts. Having the ability to know that whatever happens, I can deal with it, is the ultimate peace. If I'm at a bar and a guy steps on your shoes and says, "Hey, I'll fuck you up if you," Mike Tyson ain't worrying about that. John Jones isn't worried. Conor McGregor isn't worried. Anthony Joshua isn't worried. Nobody who knows that they're capable is ever worried about what it is that is happening. So find peace, but you find peace by continually trying yourself. Don't be comfortable with comfortable. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable, because that's where true comfort comes. I always say this, and I've been thinking this a lot lately. Yogis give you the wrong impression. We show you, the meditator in front of the waterfall who's sitting in peace, and we say, that's peace. No, 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 no. Peace is the man who can meditate while bullets are flying around him. Peace is the man that when the world is collapsing, he has the music playing and he's flaunting his arms, because he knows that he's not going to die. Even if his physical is torn to shreds, his spirit will withstand. Y'all, this is the Hunter Tale podcast. Nothing but love, inspiration, growth, and prosperity I send your way. And get ready for the next episode. It is with David. This is the guy that went raw while we are inside of the Sweat Lodge. And I want to let you hear his experience from the Sweat Lodge, but also from an ayahuasca retreat that he has recently endured. And likely, I will too. So much love, guys. Always tap in, like, comment, subscribe. Get ready for more content, more experiences from the Hunter Tale podcast. And we're going to continue to blow up. This is just the beginning.